The sum of the first 14 terms is that, so we know that the sum of the first 14 is 16,383. We've been multiplying by -2 as we go along. Can we find the first term? So a lot of this unit is working with our formulas and trying to figure out, is there a formula where we can plug in everything except for one thing? And if that's the case, we can use algebra skills to solve for that. So we've got a sum, and it's a geometric series, so that makes us think about using our sum formula, which is term 1, 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. We want to find term 1, so we know for sure we don't know this. Do we know Sn?
Yes.
When? We know Sn if n is 14, right? So then we know n as well to be 14. Do we know what the common ratio is? -2. So we can therefore take all of that information and say when n is 14, S14 would be this. I still don't know term 1. I know that r is -2. I'll put that in brackets. N is 14. Now in this example, we can't just plug everything into our calculator all at once because we have term 1 right here that we want to solve for. So we have to use our algebra skills to figure out as much of this as possible. So what do we got? We got 16,383. What can I simplify on this side? Can I simplify the brackets? Sure. Question. Can I just make that a plus sign?
No.
I heard yeah. I heard half the people say yes, half the people say no.
I don't think so.
Don't think so? I mean, if you type it in exactly as you see it, 1 minus bracket -2 to the power of 14, if those minus signs went away, this should be a positive answer, right? What happens when you push enter?
Negative answer.
It's a negative answer. What happened? What happens order of operations when we do this? The -2 to the 14 happens first, right? What happens if you have a negative to the exponent of 14? Will it be positive or negative? 14 negatives. Imagine, can you imagine 14 negative signs?
Positive.
All multiplying together.
Positive. Negative.
There's too many of them, it stays negative, or is there too many of them, it's...
It's negative even, so it's calculated.
Well, this is the answer. This is the right answer, but I'm asking what's -2 to the 14. So the question is which of these is right? If I do -2 to the 14 this way, or I do -2 to the 14 this way,
Oh, there we go. Oh, no, you should...
which one's right?
Set the bottom.
Which one's right? These are important math questions because the second one is right. And it's all about order of operations. Okay? First of all, the reason the second one is right is if you have a negative times a negative, it's positive. If you have a negative times a negative times a negative, well, the first two make positive, then you have another one is a negative. If you have a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative, 4 of them, it'll be positive. 5 of them, negative. 6 of them, positive. 7 of them, negative. 8 of them, positive. So if it's an even exponent, it's going to be positive. Why did this one right here, why when I type -2 to the power of 14, why is my calculator stupid and telling me it's negative?
Because it thinks it's only doing it as a 2, not the negative sign.
It is only doing it to the 2. The 2 to the 14 is positive number, and then afterwards it multiplies by a -1. Because your calculator follows the order of operation rules that you learned When did you learn order of operations? At grade 6? Grade 7? Right? BEDMAS? Do you ever remember learning BEDMAS? Yes? Maybe? And so in your order of operations, if you learn BEDMAS, the E, the exponent, happens before multiplying. In your calculator, it sees an exponent, and it does 2 to the exponent 14 before it multiplies by the negative. Whereas with the brackets, it keeps that negative together with the 2, and then does the exponent. Okay, anyways, we get negative 16,383 in here. Negative 16,383. What's 1 minus a negative 2? That's mental math. 3. So I simplified the top and the bottom of that fraction, but I have still not solved for term 1. What would you do algebraically to solve for term 1?
Isolate.
Isolate, so what would you do first?
5 by 3.
Opposite of dividing by 3 would be to multiply by 3. Okay. That's going to be a big number. What do you get? 4914.
49149.
Equals, and we're left with still negative 616,383 times by term 1. And then you would have to divide both sides by negative 16,383. And we get term 1 is equal to negative 3. Good? So once we were able to plug everything into an equation with just one thing we didn't know, then we have to use our algebra skills of what we do to one side, we do to the other side, to isolate the term that we don't know. We can solve that term 1 is equal to negative 3. I'll give you some time for both the questions from this one and the other one. Question number 13 for practice.